And this is pretty much, I thought of a wheel that goes on a tank track. That's pretty much what I was going for. So this is all the tools we'll learn today, we will incorporate into this design. So today we're going to go over extrudes, extrude cuts, revolves, revolve cuts, mirror, and pattern. Now the mirror and pattern we're going to learn this week are a little bit different. They're in 3D space, not in 2D space like we learned last week. So let's go ahead and begin. Or any questions before I begin, I should say. Okay, good. So SolidWorks is open. We're just going to go to new part up here, new, and then part like we did last week. I'll skip anything, Nate? If you do have questions, stop me at any time. Okay, so I'm going to go over we're going to start making these parts. Do not worry about dimensions. Just make it look relatively the same size. Dimensions aren't crucial for what we're making now, but in your actual designs, it will be more critical. So, and I'm going to say this, probably only hear me say this once, don't worry about constraining your sketches. Just follow me on the actual 3D making, the extrudes that we're going to be using. Okay, and the sketches I have are fairly simple. So, we're going to go ahead and start a new sketch. And what I did was I hit extrude at the top, and I did not hit sketch this time. So now it knows I'm going to make an extrude, but I don't have a sketch to make an extrude on. So it says, okay, where do you want your sketch to be for this first extrude? And hit front plane. Just make a circle right from the center. And I'm going to hit OK.
Well, real important, if you guys get behind, just raise your hand, one of us will come help. You're gonna need to keep up kind of, otherwise you won't be able to really follow along, so don't be shy, just raise your hand.
Yeah. Okay, good. So let's do this over again. So I probably went too fast, it's my fault. Okay, so
Yeah, we started talking after I did it.
yeah, no worries. Don't mind me here, I'm just deleting this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm at this front screen. This is the screen I was on when I opened the program and started a new part. So what I did was that on the top you have these tabs: features, sketch, evaluate. Last week we were using the sketch features up here. We're going to be using actual features now. So the difference is the sketch is when you're working in the 2D realm. Features is all the tools we're going to use in the 3D realm. So, but the 3D tools require 2D sketches to work. So I hit extrude. Since it requires a 2D sketch to work, it's going to say, hey, you need to make a sketch. What plane do you want to make a sketch on? So I started with the front sketch. Selected circle, the origin, and just made a circle. Did not constrain it. Like I said, don't worry about it this week. Hit OK in the circle, and OK in the sketch. Now at this point, I'm going to give you guys a second to get that made, and I'll talk about what we have next. Here we have it starting to make your extrude. Now it operates the same way as when we were sketching. You select a tool, and the column on the left will give you all the options for that tool. So let's go over some of the options real quick. Right now it says from, so from the sketch plane I just made. And it auto-selected that. Now it's also going to say in direction 1. It will default to have direction 1 always on. So there's different options. I can select blind up to vertices, up to surface. I can't really show you what they do now because these are referencing other 3D parts that we don't have made yet. So I'll show you that when we get further on. This right here is probably the one you're going to be using a lot. This is the distance you want to extrude the piece through the sketch. So let's change a little bit and see what we get. So let's just go to 2. And now the distance from the blue line to the yellow line is 2. 2 units, whatever you're in. And I'm in inches. So any questions so far? We're still good? All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click the button right under that. It says draft. And that's going to taper our edges in. So it's hard to see here what's really going on. So I'm going to up the angle, just go to an extreme, just to show you what it's doing. Pretty much making a cone. Now there's a limit on how far you can do this based on it can't go negative. So once you get to a point, it can't go any further. So I'm going to go ahead and take it back out. Like I said, the numeric value will change based on your dimensions. Just make it look similar. And I'm going to hit OK. Top left-hand corner. And that's your first 3D part. And that is an extrude in SolidWorks. Next thing we're going to go over is an extrude cut, which is the same exact process and tool, except for adding material. It will cut material away from this 3D object. So let me see what I got next for that. All right, so on the face here, we're going to go ahead and select the face. Now when you select the face, it'll turn blue. It might look a little different blue. It might not be glowing on yours. That's just a graphics card setting, and it means the same thing. So now it's blue, so that means that face of the object is selected. And then we're going to go and hit Extrude Cut. Now the reason I selected this face is now I am sketching on this plane, on this flat plane. I cannot sketch on the side. So if it's a got it?
No. Just right at the top of the foot. Okay.
Yeah, 4 degrees something. Where's your sketch? See what's going on? I need you to sketch with all positive. Are you okay? Okay, so we're going to start a new sketch on the face of the object. So we're no longer on that initial plane. We're now using the face of the object. One of you guys, I had some questions coming up. Go ahead, over here in the front, right?
Oh, I was about to ask you something. I didn't know like if you told me to exit out of the script or something.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. I'll go ahead and explain. So if you're in a sketch, you're going to go to your Features tab. Everything will be ghosted out. And the reason being is because you can't access those tools while you're in sketch, when you're in a 2D sketch. So you have to finish your sketch and then go and work in 3D. Does that make sense? You want to clarify on that? Did I answer your question? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I have this face selected. I'm going to go ahead and hit Extrude Cut. Now it's started a new sketch on that face. So next thing I'm going to do is make a circle. Just slightly smaller than the face. Hit OK. And then I'm going to exit the sketch. This is what I was talking about. If you see these options in the top right of your menu right here, that means you're in a sketch. Another way you can tell, like I said, when you go to Feature, a lot of your options are ghosted out at the top. So I'm going to close the sketch. Now it's going to cut all this material through that's previewing. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the taper, and we're going to up it and drop the distance down. Hit OK, and your result should look like this. Questions?
Mine's all the way hollow.
All the way hollow. That means you extruded all the way through. You got it, Mike? Okay. All right, so the next, we're just going to practice a few more extrudes here. just to run through different variables, how to make extrudes. The next way I'm going to make an extrude is I'm not going to click on the extrude button first. I'm actually going to go to sketch, and I'm going to hit sketch. Now it's asking me for a plane. I'm going to go to the back side of this object and select that plane. Then I'm going to start a sketch, make a circle. That didn't work. Oh, sorry about that. I closed the sketch. Okay. So I'm in the sketch. We selected the back side of the plane. I'm going to go ahead and make a circle off the back. And just make it about twice the size. Just like that. I'm going to close the sketch. Now notice when I close the sketch this time, it doesn't do anything in 3D space. You just have a 2D sketch. Chris. Thank you. Go to Features. And now we hit Extrude. Now notice when I hit Extrude, it took my last sketch and assumed that that's what I wanted to extrude. But if you have multiple sketches, you would have to pick what extrude you want. Same. I didn't. Let's go back. I don't think I had anything selected, but I might have had the sketch. I did. I had the sketch selected.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so see how it goes like a little gray right now?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, so if it wasn't selected, let's just run through that scenario. See, it's asking to extrude what sketch? So all you do is you select, and now it's extruding. Okay, so you see how I have it drafting in? Well, I don't want that this time. I want the draft out. So right underneath, you're going to hit draft outwards, and now draft it outwards. And that gives us this shape. In regards to how I'm doing this. Yeah, the other thing you can hit to center your object is this button right here. So let's just say I'm all the way over here and I lost my object, right? If you hit this button, it'll focus back on your model. Sometimes it will happen. It will just, the camera will be out of focus and you don't know which way to go to refocus. Hit that button, it'll put you right back on your object. Anything you have drawn, it will show you to give you a point of reference. Okay. All right, so let's just say on this last one, I didn't like how it drafted. I wanted to change it. So I'm going to open up my toolbox and show you how to do that. So if you right-click on this tree, where the last... I don't remember explaining. Okay, so this is the tree that we have. And when you make a sketch or make a part, it will show up under here. And it pulls it in a timeline. So this was the last part I made. See, if I select it, it shows the last part I made in blue. So if I right-click on it and go to Edit Feature, it pulls up the options again. And to answer your question, to draft outwards underneath the draft angle, you check mark that box. Yeah, no worries. So let's just say I didn't like this draft angle. It wasn't enough. So let's change it to 60. Hit OK. And it changed it. So next what we're going to do is another extrude cut. So let's do it this way. Go to Sketch, and then Sketch again, and select this face, the face that we just made. Now we are sketching, I wish you would have highlighted it, on that face. That's the face you want to select for the sketch we're going to make. Okay? Now, I'm in a really weird perspective here. It's hard for me to sketch sometimes in 3D. Yeah? Okay.
Is there anyone else behind? Anyone else behind?
So, may I have any questions about what we're doing? Whoever came in late, did everyone get a plane? So I practiced actually flying and modeling.
What's the best way to get Solidworks?
The best way to get SolidWorks.
So I can do it at home.
Go to the website, I believe. SolidWorks is the one you can go to the website. No, you can get it for free.
Oh, you can get it for free.
You can get a student version for free. I am going to look into the exact way of doing it because my computer crashed this weekend. So 8.1 crashed my computer. So I lost SolidWorks and I tried to reinstall it and I forgot how. So I'm gonna.
CECS, and then it has a link, and you apply there. It has like a form you fill out on Solidworks website,
So the
and
link
it'll
is
do
there.
everything for you.
Yeah.
Where do I go to Solidworks?
You have to go to my.cecs.ucf.edu, and probably, if you haven't been there before, you have to create an account. You can use your Knight's Mail, and then it'll say like my software at the top, and it'll show you a lot of engineering software that we can get a hold of, and SolidWorks is there. It'll link you to a special page on the website.
You can't get to that special
Just for
page through
students.
SolidWorks. I tried.
Just for universities which pay for a license for students.
Okay.
And then from there, you fill out the form, put in your school and everything, and it's like, okay, click here download which version. And
And it's my.ccs.
I'm gonna try and put this on our page for SolidWorks too. We need to make a page for this. I need to snips of what this looks like. How you just designed it on the website.
Yeah, we can put that on the SolidWorks page.
That's what I'm saying.
Do a sub-page.
And then I have little screenshots of how to get to each spot.
Just do a software page.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I want to put under career development.
Yeah, I want to talk to Steve about that and see what software he has access to. I know he can do NX and Rio. I think he can do one on Mac or Mac things. I don't remember. He said
You can't do those. I tried.
there was something he can do. I know there's a third one. You have a Quadro or a Fire Pro?
I have Quadro.
Yeah, Quadro. See that automatically.
Real view.
Okay. It's probably one of those things you can unlock on a regular graphic card.
Yeah, no,
But
I have a Quadro on
Nick
this card,
access-
so it accesses Quadro as a default. It accesses that feature. I can turn it off if it's bothering everyone. I just think it's cool.
I like it.
I like it. I like the glowing. It helps. It helps me show what face or what part I'm looking at because it makes it glow a little more and stand out.
Yeah. I like the shininess more than anything.
Actually, I think there's a second feature in here that doesn't have in SolidWorks too. I don't know if this
You
one's
may
in
have
there.
real view.
Shadows and
Real view graphics. I think
yeah,
those are on.
that's the one that makes it like that.
Yeah. That's what Nick hacks.
Yeah, that's what I have for my card.
Yeah. That's kind of why I thought about getting a Quadro for my desktop instead of just a regular one. But
Yeah.
Nick's just like, yeah, you can hack it, isn't it? Because it's,
Quadros are so badass.
yeah. I don't know what to do.
Have a
They're
K-
both expensive.
I have a K2000M.
I'm thinking about putting in like about $250 into that, so it's either a 760 or a Quadro, which is a little bit less powerful than that.
Yeah, what's up?
And for anyone that doesn't know, if you middle click the mouse button, middle click the scroll wheel, and drag, it pans it in 3 dimensions. Really helpful, in case you didn't know that. Like, super helpful. If you're on a trackpad, do you need a mouse? You don't need a mouse.
No, I didn't use a mouse.
Oh, no. I'm actually, this is streaming right now. So I just have stream.
Oh. I was gonna say, I have a mouse if you need one outside. Yeah, that's
Yeah, mouse.
Okay, we're back to doing this.
It's painful. Done it?
Really? You've done it?
I've done it.
You hate yourself?
Yep. All the CFP that I do on like on here, I do on my laptop and I do all the trackpad.
Yeah, they make these cool things called wireless mouses.
My backpack's just full, bro. Like,
We're going to move on.
is everyone caught up? Speak now.
Okay, so I'm going to back up a step here.
Huh?
I'm just going to back up a step and start over from this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, come into Sketch, we're going to select this face. That's the face you're going to select. We're not going to sketch on this face to do an extrude cut. But right now, you just go to Sketch, make a new sketch, and select that face. So you're at this awkward angle, and you don't want to sketch at this view, right? This view is kind of hard to sketch in 2D. So hold Shift and click Normal 2. Now we're on a better face to sketch.
So you're just holding shift?
Oh, I'm sorry, I said Shift. I meant space. So hit the space bar, and then that menu will pop up too. Good? My bad. Yeah, my bad. Okay, so we're going to make a new circle. I'm going to highlight the origin and pull up. And you're going to see a little dotted line follow you. Select, pull out. That's what she said.
Wait, what did you do?
I highlighted the origin.
Now, highlight doesn't mean click.
Just
hover over it.
Correct.
Go.
And then slowly drag up. And what I mean, just slowly move your cursor up. Don't hold, don't click, just move up. And you should see a dashed line following you. What that means is it's making it perfectly vertical to the origin.
You gotta click circle first. So hover up there. So basically, SolidWorks will kind of guess as to what you're trying to do as far as snapping. So as soon as you highlight something, and in this case you're hovering over the origin, SolidWorks knows, okay, we're doing something with that part. So it'll try to snap to that vertical line coming up from that piece.
Okay.
Circle, and then hover over the origin, and then go up, and it should follow. You should snap to a line directly vertical from the origin, and then just pick a point, and then release the circle from there. Yeah, I think we should split this one in half. Give it a shot.
I was just thinking that. I think I'm just going to do this in revolves. Okay, so next is you're going to click linear sketch pattern, but you're going to click the drop down. See, my cursor's up here. Drop down, we're going to go to circular sketch pattern.
Does everyone have a circle?
And we're going to increase the number right down here to 6. Does everyone have this on their screen? Okay. Next, we're going to just hit OK. Now I have 6 individual sketches or individual shapes, closed shapes in this one sketch. Everything we've done previous has only been one closed shape. So what we're going to do is hit Exit Sketch. And these are still highlighted right now. It shows that by the light blue. Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. Went down here. If you lose selection, you can just select a sketch and it'll highlight everything in that sketch. Come up here to Extrude Cut. Now we're extruding through. Let's play with some of the options under the Extrude Cut, just to see what they do. They are the same options that you would have for an extrude. So everything is the same. The only difference is you're adding or subtracting material from your shape. So if I go to blind, that allows me to change the distance that I'm extruding. See how it's cutting all the way in the middle of the air back there? So I'm cutting too much. If I had another part back there that I didn't want to cut, it would cut into that. So that's what blind does. It allows you to set the distance. There's some other ones we can do. through all. It would go through every single piece you have modeled right now. The furthest one back, the furthest face you have back, it will go through the whole thing. I can give you an example of that. Let's say there was a center shaft with the original extrude diameter going through, and it was another 2 inches back. The cut would go another 2 inches because that's the furthest piece back. It just determines the depth of the cut. It's a way to lock down the depth without having to manually enter a number. The best way to do this one is either up to next or up to surface. And you select the surface. So these are different ways you can extrude and extrude cut your components. Yes.
What if you don't have up to next? I have up to vertex.
Can you well, he's going to look and see. So either one of these would work. The reason you might want to change these is because we like to model things parametric. So for example, if I keep this component at, let me just show you instead of talking about it. So if I stay at blind and I keep the component only at, what was the distance? Just enough to cut through this. So it's barely cutting through the surface right now. Don't follow me for what I'm going to do. We're going to go back to this sketch and then continue. But I just want to demonstrate the difference between using these tools. So right now I have it set this, so I'm going to hit OK. It's going to cut my holes out. It doesn't matter. Cut a little extra. But what if I come back to this original piece and say, you know what? That's not quite thick enough. I need this to be 2 inches, right? So I hit OK. Look, my cut doesn't go all the way through now. It's not parametric. It doesn't follow the changes you made to the model. These are some of the things you want to start learning how to use to make parametric modeling. That is what employers like. To where you can go back and change something and everything auto-corrects correctly. So how you would do that, let's hit Control Z and go back. Okay, so I'm back at this screen where I was setting this. Now let's say I want to go to this surface. What surface do I want to go to? The back surface. Okay. Done. Exact same thing as we did before, but now if I come back and change this to 2, the holes go all the way through. The depth of these holes are now driven by the back of the surface. And that's why these little tools, these little sub-tools are so important to learn and know what they do and know how to use them and know when to use them. Anything right? Okay. So let's go back. So we're at, you should be at, I keep going too far. You go.
What are we supposed to do in the circles?
Is everyone at least to this point? If you're not,
Are we still doing up the surface?
raise your hand. I'll help you out.
They
Should be going all the way.
There's different options you can use for this one. The one I would use as an example was up to surface.
Yeah.
You can use up to next, which goes to the very next surface. I didn't go over all the options in that. That's something I can show you all of them, but it would be quicker for you guys just to play with it, and then once you use it once or twice, you instantly know what it's doing. So there's only 1 or 2 tools in this program that after you play with it and you still can't figure out what it's doing that you might have to go online and research. Most of this program was designed to be as fundamentally self-explanatory as possible. So it's just learning the terminology. So. Yeah. All right. So we have one more component here that we're going to add, and then I'm going to give you guys a practice part to work on, and we'll come around and help you guys out. So the next piece we're going to add is we're going to extrude, and this is something we've already done. So I hit extrude. I've select the back surface now. Hold space, hit space bar, normal 2, and I'm going to make a circle from the center, and I'm going to go past the holes I cut previous. Okay, hit OK. The next thing is something I have not showed you. I could not show you this step last week because we didn't have any 3D objects. This is a way of making a parametric sketch. So what you're going to do, you can come up here to Convert Entities and just select every circle we just cut out. And as you select them, you should see them pop up in this selection box here. Hit OK. Now all these circles are being projected to our sketch based off those holes. So if the holes change, this sketch will change. It's parametrically driven, just like I showed you previous. That use tool is very crucial to use when you got to reference a surface or a corner or a hole in another sketch. So hit OK. I can. And let's just set this at 4. Let's just go to 8. You want this a little bit thicker. Your dimensions might be different, so just make it look close to this size. Okay. So what I did was I went to Convert Entities.
Yeah, I'm at you did the circle on the back.
Okay.
Right. And then what did you do after that?
I hit.
Selected all the other.
I hit Convert Entities first. This button here.
Oh, okay.
And then I selected the circles. And what that's going to do, it's going to project the corners of whatever element you select onto the sketch. Does everyone have?
One side of the circle, or
What I flip my view to be normal,
all right.
and then I can only select the edge of the circle.
All right.
Even if you select the inside, it's going to project it to a 2D surface. So it would still just be a circle because it's a projection. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a practice component on the board for you guys to practice some of these parts making. We're going to go around, walking around. If anyone has questions, raise your hand, let us know. We'll come by and help you out, okay?
What did you do after you converted the entity?
Not that one. This one. One second, I heard your question. Okay. Go ahead and start making that piece with the tools we just learned. Okay, what you have? What's going on here? You see this arrow?
Yeah.
It's trying to extrude that direction.
That's it.
So hit the flip. Yep. As far as you want to go. Make it pretty long, like the one I just did. It'll give us some room to work with on our next drawing.
No.
And then from there, it's just full truth.
Now, if you're gonna make this, part, right? And here, let me give you guys a good little hint how you want to start this. If you're gonna make this, what shape on there is easiest to make? Is it? There you go. So if you look at this from the side, you have just this simple L shape. So you can start from that view and make that L shape and extrude that out, and then go from there. Huh?
Sometimes the pure sketch, it might not be the same.
Remember, there's no one way to do things. This program lets you be creative. You can do it however you want.
Draw this piece and then cut it straight, or you could draw a rectangle there and cut and taper that cut down, and then stop and then do another cut straight down. You can get really creative with this material. You could sketch in the middle here and then revolve it.
Whatever was used is the top of the front plane or the right plane.
Revolve, extrude it up there.
However you see that part.
That's how I ended up doing one of these flying. I had to go down and then come out like that. For the little hook on the bottom, the holds the rubber band. It's a really weird shape, so I came out and did that and that.
If you guys get stumped, let me know. Come up.
Oh, the menu came on? Yeah, I just
I have the stream. I'm watching the stream.
a better example this week than last week.
Yeah.
It's much easier to see what it actually
Well, I had it prepped last week too, and it just didn't like me. Didn't want to play.
I'm interested to see how different the airplanes are. That'll be kind of cool. Yeah. I'm sure there'll be some people that just have a flat wing. There'll be some people that have completely curved one. Do you want to edit it? Can you edit it real quickly? Okay, so I'm gonna let you worry about editing it. I'm gonna get in the website set. And I'll put semi-text into what needs to be covered in the section. And you can add whatever you feel makes it flow better. I already set up, like, this page, he set up the page, I started editing it today. I'll probably look at it a little bit tomorrow. And then sometime next week after we settle down with you, I'll try and get it finalized. We'll try and get it set up. I'll look at the center of masses. It's about quarter chord. It's pretty close. Worship? For a balsa ware airplane. Just like we actually designed this to be an airplane. I'm impressed that the symmetric airplane. I think it's just overpowered. Yeah. That's probably the idea is to see the power issue. Because the back is a little bit heavier, it's let up to get an angle of attack, and that's enough. Just let it glide.
Okay. It's not recalled pretty bad. So when it doesn't really built up, sometimes select it.
It's definitely got less lift and weight.
It won't extrude. It's pretty much like, I think this is what I can do. This is better than it's having.
see that side looks like I'm trying to make it look exactly like that. Top side, it looks like that also. Yeah. So, what would you get?
Probably make another square line through here on the side. So you extrude it like, oh, I need to make that. Supposed to be my guy. This is really complex surface between the next one and the thing.
So are you drafting for you guys?
Well, this is just this isn't actually so click line here.
Anyone else need help?
Click on the dot here.
How do we do that?
Click on there and finish. And then you're
Look,
gonna
construction line.
to center it. And that is some of the here's where you want to draw some reference lines. And you have two choices here. The way SolidWorks works is once you highlight over something, it starts to put it in your activity.
Well, that's the
So let's say you wanted to draw something on this line, you highlight this line. And you can trace it out, see? You already highlighted this, so it knows where you're working on this line. This also works from the that's separate. So you have this point. Now it knows where the whole thing point. But it doesn't have any sense of reference, right?
You know how to check if a sketch is close on?
Yes.
What
So now with this folder,
It's not preview.
and go in and make one of both of those. And since we've already moused over that, it knows that you're looking at both of those.
You had two regions selected. Like you had it trying.
When you guys are done, do you want to see me try to sketch this? Because I haven't done this one. You guys want to see kind of like the
So
way I would
down here, I noticed your geometry, the sketch you were trying to extrude. You had two of them.
Yeah, I want.
So you were trying to extrude an object on top of an object, and it just didn't like that.
You can't. That's why I broke.
Yeah.
Yes.
You confused me.
Because I think the way I messed up is I didn't have a line.
Okay.
Where's the yeah, so right there, just flip over this one here.
If you want this kind of one other, it's kind of like it.
And then just click.
Just to let you know, I don't use this version.
Back at this one. Here's the floor down. And say center on. And then do the same one here. Yeah, but I told him it was not a good pencil. So we can just go that.
Right now, you don't.
If you actually do it.
I've encouraged that in your own time. Always be so it's okay to do that. So we have this draw.
Now
we have
Well, I mean, just 3 different lines.
so the extrude is the removal Yes.
Okay, so how do I? Okay, so so what?
You just shift and select these lines here.
So it shows you the line you're pressing over, this line you're mouse, I'm used to using different type of
So if you go ahead and double line but I would honestly
what are you trying to do?
everything down.
What is good back?
It's just
That's not gonna shrink. Now, and here's the problem. Right now, you have this something else. Or just like it's string at the same so you can just delete that string if you want. That's what it is. Right. Now we remove this. Now if you want to reflect the
That L shape on the side. Try sketching the L shape. Extruding that. Okay. You see, and then work that way. Try to get as much detail you can in one sketch.
But it's doing the opposite. It's cutting everything around it. So I want to push this part out, but it's taking everything else.
Nothing notable that you're doing with this actually. That's one. It's in the same business as a box. So not actually doing leave this dimension, go ahead. What it is, you have to this dimension is this, and this dimension is this. So then you can say 75, 35. So you're going to change this dimension to 35. Assuming the perfect box is 35. So now, well, you want to change this is volume. Just double click on then it'll let you change it. And then now that you know the range, you can say I want this to happen. Anything else? There are other like tricks, but when you're actually doing that, that's how it's supposed to do. Yep.
Starting.
Yeah, the 75.
Oh. I didn't. I want to go a little more time in the background so they can kind of see how.
Oh yeah. That was fine.
And I haven't done it, so I'll actually have to.
I've been dating Mars for the past 3 hours also. When you lose your tolerance, you can't pound anymore. It's easy.
Back on the about. Wait, tolerances? What are you talking about?
So this is what we're eventually going to make. I'll show you this.
A dick?
So we change a lot.
For sketch?
Yeah, for like the circle part now.
So you started this sketch, right? It's asking right now, what surface do you want to sketch on? So you're not the sketch yet. See right here, we have a sketch. Sketch symbol with a little light on.
So usually,
Traffic light out.
it's more likely than not because you're
Start
still
with sketch.
editing the sketch.
Slide to flip. There you go. I'll make a line. See that line, the mock up?
Yeah.
That line.
No, that's the surface coming.
Now, go straight out. Another.
So that's what
You just bounce it across. Now, what you want to do is you don't want to use this line to sketch.
Now here is the problem. You want to
Right click that line.
You want to sketch
The second option right there. Has the 2 lines. That's convert to a construction line. So click that. Now let's sketch just the reference line. Just to help you go there. Now use the midpoint of that sketch, that line, to draw your circle.
If you have a 3D representation,
Yeah.
it's a 3D representation and
Absolutely.
for you. It changes sketch, it will also change the Now every time you've done a feature on a sketch, it'll show the feature as a copy of something you're working in.
So much more natural.
This guy, yeah, I think it's the only one that one. Okay. So, yeah. Alright, so what you want to do, start with the front. So, down here, just on the start down. So, that's the first
Whatever you want to do.
grab an edge.
And it's much more surface.
It doesn't move back.
If you want to, when you're done, that's like this. Yeah, you know, that's what this is.
Well, you're in dimension right now. And then any point. So it doesn't know this angle, that doesn't know
It doesn't have big
that dimension, that doesn't know that doesn't know what. So you want to do first, doesn't want that down. Now that thing is moving like this, so I don't want that down.
Which one do you use? Which you said?
Use that same point.
Oh, no, I use Solidworks first. But I've been working a lot in
So now it has the outside, now it's just like this.
It's a company.
Basically what I'm saying is,
So it's like
dimensions.
you take a hat model.
Every time you pull like the side of it, it'll give you a hint as to what's going on, what's it trying to change. And just walk down that side.
Like here, I can give you
Dimensions or
2
constraints.
seconds.
The problem with adding too many dimensions, the drawing becomes super complex, and it's hard to see what dimensions are at the same time. So things that how does not
So now,
you have to constraint that doesn't put the dimensions.
just hold it.
The green, yeah, the green, all the constraints, horizontal, all the sides, parallel, equal. So what I would do is I would set this side, this line, just.
The program knows like how parallel actions.
Yeah, so all I introduce is just has a tree and all that. And let it iterate.
Just the other ones.
The shortcuts are strong.
The bottom ones.
Shift top, front, side.
Hold it. There you go. Equal.
I just say really cool to show you.
I'll set a dimension of this line. I'll set a dimension of that line. Minimize the amount of dimensions. And do something about it. No, it's not setting the screen level. It cuts down the amount of confusion you're having.
So,
Did I answer your question?
yeah, just okay. Well, that's really cool. This one around. Yeah, change this one out. See, did you see the voice screenshot of your CCM simulation? Look at it looks like an action shot. The here and here and here. It's like, I made the streamlines too. Instead of just like lines. It's cool. It's like there's like something. It looks so like childish almost. It's like the exact.
Do you want to go ahead and start?
My version. Alright. Is everyone like more or less done? Or close? Yes.
What Nick is going to start doing here in just a minute is he's actually going to run through how to make this sketch for you. So this is not the only way to make the sketch, but how the first way Nick saw of making it. There's obviously very different ways you can make this sketch. You can make a whole block, cut out the pieces you want. You can make an L piece, just extrude that piece.
AJ, where's your charger? Is this your charger right here?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Cool. Are you guys all? Do you want me to start doing it now? Do you want a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, I'm not gonna get a reference. Look, I'm done.
Circle, of course.
So, how I would go about this, I would start off, with that side view. So, new sketch. And I'm going to go to the right plane because I want this to be a side view.
Try not to follow along with him, Ryan. Just try to watch what he does and try to understand and ask why he did what he did.
Correct. So now, I'm going to draw a line off the origin. Okay. So I have this line. Draw another one, and you'll see why I'm doing lines in a second. Judge me. So now, you'll notice that in the the model, it was rounded, so I'm going to use a fillet to round that off. Go a little more, maybe a little too much. It's okay, we'll use it. So now I have that rounded fillet, and I'm actually going to use, I'm not sure if we taught this in the first workshop, but if you ever want to move a line and you just want to move it in one direction, there's a feature called offset. So you offset entities and it'll ask you how far you want to go. I'll see if this is okay. And you'll see that it'll offset it. So I'm going to go...
Just to clarify, this is not moving the line. This is making a copy of this line and referencing the original. It's following the perimeter of the shape.
Correct.
So there is a way to move lines and shapes and sketches if you need to.
So I'm going to close this guy off. So now I have my basic outline of what I want to extrude. So I'm going to exit that sketch. I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to guess here. I don't know how far it was. That looks good, right? So let's say about 1.5. So now we have our basic shape. Does your middle mouse button not work?
No, it's the wheel.
There we go.
I lost all my defaults.
Okay. So now I want to make the cuts. So I'm going to start with the circle just because it's easier. So I'm going to sketch, and I'm going to pick this plane to sketch on. Now I'm going to normal to it. Now you can either do construction lines here, or I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut. So since SolidWorks knows what you're working with if you highlight over something, I'm going to highlight over the middle point here. Go to this line, highlight over the middle point. Now I'm not clicking, keep in mind. I'm going to trace this down, and it'll catch the other middle point when I pass it. Now I'm at the middle point of my plane. So I'm going to make this big. Now I'm going to extrude cut this. And I'm going to go to surface. Remember, you want to be robust about it. If I change something, I want it to stick that way. So now I have that cut out. Now I'm going to go to a little more complex shape. Your scroll wheel locks.
That button
Yeah.
behind it locks and freezes it.
Yeah, but it locks every time. Okay. So now I want to sketch on this plane. So sketch, plane. Normal 2 again. Now, here I'm going to do a center line because intuitively I'm going to know that was a pattern, or not necessarily a pattern, but the shape. You could cut it in half and mirror it, and I want it to be even. So I'm going to draw a center line through the middle because I know just looking forward that I'm going to need to mirror something. So now that line's there. Now I'm going to start my shape. So I guess about this far. And I'll go like this. Now I want to go only to the middle. Okay. So now, we learned earlier, or the last one, you have mirror entities. Okay, so select entities to mirror. I'm going to mirror this line, this one, and this one. And mirror about. Now we get to pick that center line that we used earlier. Boom. So now we have something to extrude. Exit sketch, features, extruded cut, just like we did before. Up to surface. Pick your surface. Cut it out, and that was it, right?
Yeah, the box, the bottom, that triangle, that's not control.
There's what?
It was like a box.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, that's a good point now. Now, oh, I made a mistake. How do I fix this easily? Well, I go back to this extrude that I did, this extruded cut, and since the way SolidWorks functions, basically, it takes whatever 2D sketches you made and extends that feature into 3D. So if you change that 2D feature, it'll extrude, it'll fix the 3D aspect of it. So if I go back into this sketch and I edit it, I can edit this sketch, and any changes that I make to this sketch are going to be represented in the 3D modeling of it. So I'm going to delete this. Now you'll see it's trying to get a jump start on me here, even though I haven't finished editing it for some reason. So, entities. Can't really see what's going on very well. So, entities to mirror, mirror about. And you see it'll automatically fix the 3D representation of what that sketch did. I think that's the finished part of it.
That's it. Any questions?